welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin,
I'm sorry.
and this is Conversations with the Crawleys, where we have conversations about faith, family, relationships, and TV shows that we love and do recaps of them. In fact, this video is all about the most recent episode of Ready to Love. So if this is content that you enjoy, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button.
Yep, like
Hit
it.
the like button, notifications, and all of the fun stuff. And then meet us in the comments. We will respond to your comments. We love the feedback that you guys give, as well as the clues and the detective work that you all do. So definitely make sure you are hitting us up in the comments. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Hit it.
All right, so today or this episode, you have power just shifts right back.
Yep.
The
to
ladies
woman.
got the power, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
They got the power.
Oh,
I
Lord.
got the power.
Yes.
So Uncle Tommy lets us know we're halfway through the process.
Uncle Tommy, nephew Tommy, cousin Tommy, he got them all, right?
He got them all. So big brother Tommy, whatever you feel like he is to you, he says we're halfway through the process.
Right.
We're halfway through the process. So now, as we indicated before, he's like, go out with someone other than your top one. Whoever is in your mind, close your eyes. Whoever that person is, you're not going out with them this week.
Right.
Make sure you're giving an opportunity to some other guys that maybe you didn't think had the potential there, or get out of what you normally look at,
right,
and pick something else.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's especially, and we've talked about it in this environment, it's the perfect thing to do to step outside of your comfort zone, to step outside of what has normally been the thing for you. If you normally like them tall, dark, and handsome, then take them short, light, and okay, right? See if that might be the thing, right?
Okay.
Opposite, hey. So, but that's kind of the assignment. So we got Alexis and Ron.
Right, which they've been talking on the phone.
Right.
So now you get to see, if that personality matches in person. So they go putt-putt.
Yep. And so she talks about how she sees his spiritual, her spirituality is important to her. And so that's a question for her.
For him.
Right. A question of hers for him.
Right.
Whether or not he has the spirituality, what have you. And so she says she sees a priestly king vibe.
Okay.
Let me just say this. To all of my church people, can we kind of let go of the church lingo and start trying to apply it to every area of everything? Priestly king, yes, I get what you're saying, but let's not apply it where it may not apply, right?
Right.
You don't,
because obviously he indicates that he's not overly spiritual.
Right.
He doesn't go to church.
Right.
Now, is she trying to say he has the potential?
Absolutely.
To, then yeah, everyone has the potential.
Right.
So it sounds like he is open, and that's one of the things that he feels like he's attracted to her about.
Yeah.
That maybe she can share with him.
Right.
So there's a great opportunity here. I feel like they had a really good day.
Yeah, and he makes the comment, he sees them that they could be a power couple, which could be, yeah.
Could be. I mean, he was touchy-feely with her.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe there's a straight con.
There's a connection there, right? And it's it's interesting because, a few weeks back, Ron and Chrysanthemum seemed to be like they were hitting it off.
Right.
But I think that, and we'll talk kind of later about some things we learned about her, but I think that he has the vibe that he has with Alexis is a lot more just organic.
Right.
I think that's the way it's not forced.
Right. And it may not be, I don't know if it's forced with Chris. It's just a different energy.
There's a different vibe, yeah. Yeah. So, all right. And then Amber goes on a date with AG. So Amber steps away from her dates with Chris because that's been her number one. And goes on a date with AJ.
Yeah.
And she kind of calls him out because, he's like, oh, why haven't we connected? Da, da, da. She's like, because you ain't pursued.
Right. Which is good. I think that really needs to open up, because there are some guys who are always being pursued. Right. And when you get to that point where you feel like you're always being pursued, then you're not going to be pursuing. You're like, well, they're going to come to me when they're ready, because I'm it, know. So she calls them she's like, you come across arrogant.
Exactly.
So I like that AJ kind of took it in, and really say, okay, I hear you. And I feel like he's putting in some work. Yeah. So I think it was a good conversation and something he needed to hear.
Yes.
And sometimes women need to, say that. Right. I think it was a great environment to do so.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily see them together. I think that they're just too different in some respects as far as their approach to things.
Right. So, because it looks like after that it just got quiet.
Yeah, it was
nothing after that.
Yeah, it was no connection as far as no vibe that we could see. So and then Chrysanthemum goes on a date with Chris.
Yes. So they meet up.
And I think she's moving around simply because she knows her time is almost up. I'm going to make it right now. My prediction is next week, Chrysanthemum's gone.
Yeah, potentially, right? I mean, she only had a connection with Ron, and I just don't want the women or the men to feel like I got to move around.
Right.
To stay in. You're not getting the prize money. It's not like you're getting the bag for...
this ain't Survivor. This ain't Love Survivor.
Right. This is about you finding a true connection.
Right.
And if you're not finding a true connection, don't try to connect with someone you're not going to be with after the show.
Just to get a little more stipend money to go,
Right. No. I'm like, you got to remember why you're here. Are you ready for love?
Right.
Because Chris made a statement that we didn't know. Chris was like, every time I was trying to communicate with her, she didn't give me no time.
Right.
Now all of a sudden she giving me some time. So now Chris is the one calling out. It's like, okay, girl, let me feel your vibe. You 70% in, but there's a 30% you don't know about me. And she's like, yeah,
we see that every season. We see that person that almost like panics because maybe their number one has turned their attention elsewhere.
Right.
So now they start scrambling to date whomever they can. And this episode, or excuse me, this season, Chrysanthemum is that person. She's the person that right now seems to be, let me jump around and go on this date with Chris. Right.
But I mean, to her defense, they were asked to go out with someone.
Right.
So we know that this is not normally her type.
Right.
So she did step out there.
Gotcha.
But she has to realize that the way her thought process is, you ain't going to have a number two. Because Chris ain't feeling you like that either. Because he said, I tried. At least to talk. Right.
And here's the thing we learned about her is, and she talks about, she said, I don't know if you caught this, but she makes the statement.
Yes.
She says her mom is not affectionate, so she is not affectionate.
Right.
So that really, that to me makes sense of why her vibe is the way it is.
Right.
Where it's still kind of standoffish, closed, and guarded.
Right. It's her love language, right?
Right.
So her mom's love language is, I'm going to show you through what I do.
Right.
My deeds. Because she said her mom would show her by making sure she take care of you and whatever. So sometimes people are the opposite of their parents, right? Because they haven't received that. So potentially that could be the reason why.
It's possible, right? So, but again, I'm making my prediction right now. You get it halfway through this video that yes, Chrysanthemum will probably be the one that's likely gone next week. All right?
Yep.
And then Amber's moving around.
Yeah.
But I don't get the desperation from her. She knows where she wants. But she is following the assignment.
She is following the assignment and being intentional.
Right.
Being intentional.
So she goes on a date with Joelle. And at first it's like, it doesn't seem like there's that much of a connection.
Right.
Joelle he's always going to be that Louisiana country guy.
He's that Southern.
Yep.
He just has that, I don't know. I just feel like he's that type of Southern guy that would make a woman feel comfortable.
Right.
And so just his demeanor and the way he carries himself, automatically it attracts Amber in their date. Right. And so he kisses her and they have this conversation. And he, again, what I appreciate about Joel, he's like asking, okay, how do you see yourself being a bonus mom?
Right.
How would that work with,
and the age difference.
And the age difference. Because this age difference is,
I forget how old.
6?
Yeah.
Like 10.
I don't know. But
he's in his 40s. She's like,
okay.
Yeah. So we're about 6 or 10 year difference here. So, because he's like, I don't really go after 31-year-olds.
Right.
So, but yet, I think something opened up to him like, okay, let me be open that she's mature. And she says, I don't want to take anyone's place, but I love kids and I can see myself doing that. So, and if he really loves kids, it sounds like he might need to be open to have more children.
It's possible, right? So, I still think that him and Vernicia are probably a great fit.
Oh, sure.
But and Chris and Amber are a great fit.
Sure.
But it was good. Again, they are that date was probably the epitome of what Tommy was trying to get at, which was move around, see who else is out there, don't lock yourself into one person, right. So then we've got from there we've got Liz and Jason going a date.
Yes, so Liz sets up the date,
and Jason is shooting his shot.
Jason is like, I am confident. I done seen what I want.
Jason is not.
And Liz with the L is love.
Yes.
So, Jason shows up, he's like, hey, let me pull out the chair. I'm liking what I'm seeing, and they're talking and they're having conversation. And he's like, I am looking to get married.
Right.
Yes, I'm willing to wait for the right person in the right situation, And so they have a great dinner, and then they go up on the Ferris wheel. And boy, he was like, ooh, if this ain't the moment to touch them lips. And he was on it like fried rice.
He grabbed that face and was like,
woo, baby.
Right.
And she, took it all in,
So for Liz, she is seeing, because she was locked in on David, right? So she is seeing a potential that maybe she hadn't expected. I know she had the conversation with AJ, and she just really wasn't feeling him a few weeks back. But Jason may have come kind of out. He's come kind of out of the dark, out of blue for her, and so.
But I feel like there's a natural spark there, and with David, is that something? A comfort zone when Jason can bring some kind of new energy in her life. And I think sometimes as women, we need something with new energy. Why you looking at me like that? It's just new. I'm just saying, it is new energy. So for her, she's like, woo, okay.
Because in this stage, she's still trying to find that person, right?
Right.
And so if you're dating and all you date is the same thing over and over again,
correct.
We all know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Correct.
So if you date the same type of people and expecting that all of a sudden you find the one that's not like every other guy that you've dated or every other woman you've dated. So I get that. Yeah. So Jason may be that guy that kind of expands her a little more, expands her viewpoint, expands some things concerning her, so that it could be right.
Yeah, we'll see. The way he's looking at it, he could put a ring on it.
He's shooting his shot. I'll give him kudos. He is shooting his shot. He is not playing any games when it comes to his pursuit of Liz. But I also, we haven't seen this to the effect, but it seems like he's also shooting his shot at Kyra. And Kyra felt some kind of way when she heard about the kiss, because she was like, I've been hanging out, but I ain't getting no kiss.
I don't get no kiss. Well, and that's the thing. He felt really passionate when he went out with Liz.
Right.
And I think it was just him seeing Liz in a very different view.
Right.
Put it in a different perspective.
Right.
Now, I don't know if Kyra showed up different at that masquerade, maybe he would have felt a little bit different for her.
But here's the thing. Do you think that maybe he's putting it on extra thick because everybody's eyes was on Liz? Do you think that maybe part of him shooting his shot as well as he's trying to shoot it is, look, you jumped to a lot of guys' attention, so let me at least try and position myself.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I feel like he might like older women more.
It's only 4 years, but yeah.
I mean, but still. I felt like he had felt like there was such a maturity to her.
Right.
And he felt more comfortable in that space. And so I think that maybe give him a little bit more attraction to him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible.
So we'll see. I mean, it's interesting, right? Yeah. And then AJ and Kyra go on a date. And I thought this was a little cheap, in my opinion.
Why?
Well, because they've been out before.
Yes. And I was, at first, you're right, because I was a little confused. I was like, this is not out of your comfort zone. This is someone you would normally date.
Right.
But if she's saying, I have questioned if I really want to, and he hadn't resolved in her mind that he was a different person from the last time. I think it was like, okay, let me see if he can redeem himself. This is the best episode for him to redeem himself.
And he needed to redeem himself.
He needed to redeem
because after that conversation with Amber, it was like, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad. This is where I feel like he's putting in the work.
Yeah.
He heard her. He tried to open up more. He said, look, this is where I am. So I feel like what he's saying about wanting to be married and being a different person, I think that's really, truly what he's trying to do. So he's trying to take in what people are giving him as far as from a woman's perspective and really trying to become a new person.
Yeah. So they have a great date. He gets a private room.
Yeah.
Gets her the lobster. They have wine.
Yeah, he put some money on this one.
Yeah, and Tom even asked, did he pay for it?
Did he pay for it? Oh.
Right. So, but they have a good conversation, and I think I kind of like Kyra and AJ.
I feel like they're a good match. If you had to match someone up based off of conversation, how they handle themselves, I think Kyra can handle AJ.
Right.
You know.
So here's the thing, because I'm looking at this season right now, and there's already a lot of folks that is like, you know what, y'all might have found the person at this stage, you know, because you got Amber and KJ who seem to be a great fit, right? They're the question of, you know, how do we handle finances? All that's been already resolved, so they seem to be on the same page, right? Joelle and Vernicia seem to be on the same page right now, right? Now Liz was on the same page, and that's why this kind of shakes it up a little. But now Jason kind of rises into the top there, right?
I hope they're writing down journals or something.
Yeah,
because to be able to keep up with the
track
energy
of who you're talking to, and what's going on,
and what's going on, and feel and discovering, okay, if I had to choose between two people, that's the only thing when you start dating multiple people,
right?
And seeing what their, you know, likes and not, and just things you don't like and stuff, is really trying to add up. Like, okay, where do I see myself? How does this fit? How do we fit together?
Yeah. And then Vernicia and Dedrick go out.
Yeah. You know, this is my perspective.
What's your perspective, babe?
Even if you're nervous, don't tell the woman you're nervous.
Yeah.
Or that she makes you nervous. If anything, you feel, you know, you want to say, wow, I feel like you can, there's some way I can reciprocate. So I'm growing and we're both growing. But you don't want to make someone feel like you ain't worthy of them.
Well, context is everything, right?
Oh, yeah, context is everything.
Because in the conversation of, I want a man who takes the lead. I want a person who's the head of the household, what have you. In that context, to then say you make me nervous,
right?
That's not how that conversation should go.
No,
that's not. Now, if you're like, because I was like, okay, now is it nervous? Nervous because like
I'm so beautiful.
I don't really know how to handle myself around you because you are just all this and
hands all on you.
Then I get it. That's a statement. Okay, yeah, I can get that.
Right.
You make, but in that context of, I want a man who can lead. I want someone who's head of the household. And your response is, you know what, you make me nervous.
Right.
Because he also said, you know, calls her, what is it? He was like,
I was trying to think of the word. He says tough.
Yeah, called her tough. And it was like, I don't get that from her.
Tough.
There's a difference between being tough and being aggressive and being kind of a hard case. And what I think
he's trying to mean like she has endurance, like she handles her stuff and she's not penetrable, I guess, in a sense of adversity.
So, because he makes a statement, you know, you know what you want, and you're not flexible. So I think that the way I took that is that he's basically saying, you know, you might be a hard case for me, right? Whereas she's simply saying, I know what I want. And I know, you know, what my value. And so I want to make sure that I'm not taken advantage of and I'm not, you know, I'm getting what I deserve. Right. So the conversation there was a little different, but he kind of shoots himself in the foot.
Yeah, because he gives me the vibe that he only dates young girls. Give me the younger vibe. Like, I only date young girls because, you know, they really don't know what they want. I can kind of lead based off of you being naive. So I've heard that from men who date too young of women.
True. I get that. Yes, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yes.
So.
I think I don't know necessarily the age, but when you said naive, I'm like, yeah, that's I think he prefers to date women that are less assertive. Is kind of what I get. Because if you handle business, you handle business. And it doesn't mean, you know, we were talking about a man leading does not always look the same in every relationship.
Correct.
Right? So there are different ways that can happen.
Correct.
But you're confident and know how you lead.
Correct.
And so if a woman's saying that she wants a man who leads, and you have questions about, well, am I, you know, or you're tough or things of that nature, then it's like, okay, maybe you want someone that basically just is kind of like, what was it? Coming to America, that just does not argue with you, and just barks like a big dog, whatever, right?
Whatever.
So, you know, long story short, the ladies have their conversations, right? And we see the usual suspects as far as who the ladies are feeling, right? The guys that we know as we're watching this, who the ladies are feeling. But then when it comes to who they're not feeling, it was about to be some consequences and repercussions coming across that table, because
people were giving dagger eyes.
Was getting mad.
It was like, hold on. We talked about your man and everybody didn't like your man. So now let me talk about your, you know. Right. So, and I think, again, you can't be overpossessive.
Right.
If that's the person you want and they get dismissed, dismiss yourself for that person.
You still got their number.
You still got their number.
Can connect with them.
You can connect.
Right.
You don't have to be tied to the show. Right. Because, again, you have to be ready for love and find the person you want to be with. Bow out if that's the person you want to be with. Right. Again, you don't get no prize money.
No.
There's not like, if you stay at the end, you get $100,000 and a man.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
I don't even know if they get like a trip together or anything.
No, they don't.
Last season, they just got a boat ride across the lake.
Right. Shut up. So the point is to really, truly find love. And I think that's where, when you start doing these reality TV shows, that's why we're not seeing the results at the end where these people are staying together.
Right.
Because you're focused like, oh, I just want to be at the end with somebody. I just want to be at the end with somebody. No. The problem, we don't like rejection.
That's a whole other conversation right there.
Well, we need to make it a conversation.
We'll do that conversation.
We'll have to do that, because when you don't like rejection, you end up with anything.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, we ain't gonna dabble in that, but yes, in fact, look out for that, because we'll probably do that conversation soon about rejection, because that will keep you in relationships. That will keep you finding relationships that you don't deserve and you don't want.
Shouldn't be in.
So anyway, long story short, Dedrick is dismissed. He meets with Kyra, and Kyra's like, look,
you didn't open up.
You ain't open up.
You didn't share.
You didn't do it.
You didn't talk to nobody.
It's good. Right. And then AJ met with Alexis.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know if the thing also that I was interested me was, remember the very first date that AJ and Alexis had?
Yes.
How aggressive Alexis was?
Yes. She calmed down.
She's calmed down a lot. I think Troy getting sent home was kind of a clue to her that maybe I need to calm down too.
You better slow your butt down.
So, but they do have conversation. He pulls her in, what have you.
Thinking that's going to change something.
She was like, no, I can't do this. Let's have this conversation. And so he is going to have to, again, like you said earlier, do the work. He's going to have to do the work to open up, to communicate, to tear down that guard, and really decide who he wants. Because right now he's on a couple of lists,
right?
But he needs to begin to start to really focus in on what he wants. Because one of the things that Alexis was like, you haven't really reached out to me,
right?
So the person that he's trying to grab all up on, she's like, we haven't really talked. So it's like, okay, so she's like, you were on my list, but now I don't know where you're going to be on my list because you haven't connected with me.
Right.
All right. So we'll see how it goes. Again, my prediction for next week, and I've been pretty good this season, is that Chrysanthemum will be our lady going home next week. And we'll see how things go.
Okay.
Any questions? Anything?
No.
All right. Well, look, that's all we got today. Make sure you, again, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, and request notifications. And we will see you next time here on Conversations with